talk about the 76ers. The 76ers are currently the 14th seed in the East, and they sit at 0-3. For a team classified as championship contenders, they definitely don't look like it, and people are starting to wonder if it's time to give Doc Rivers the boot. And by people, I mean Twitter. Twitter let the memes go crazy. So as you can see, Philly fans are not happy with Doc Rivers right now. But back to the topic at hand. So they haven't had the start everyone expected them to. And today we're going to break down why they're off to a slow start and does it mean trouble for their future. After starting 0-3, fans of Philly and analysts are raising their eyebrows when it comes to the 76ers. Saturday night against their loss against the Spurs, they lost 114-105. This is a game that shouldn't have been close, as the Spurs are a team no one really expected to be any good due to them blowing up their roster this offseason so they could go ahead and do a rebuild. So it should have been an easy win for the 76ers, but that really wasn't the case. The 76ers were outcoached and outplayed down the stretch. Now, while their starters had a solid game on an individual basis, there were some glaring issues. One being their bench needs a lot of work. They were outscored by the Spurs bench 40-10. The Spurs bench is a bunch of guys that no one could really name. They had 30 more points than a contender's bench. Now, that is a big red flag, right? The 76ers' biggest problem is their offense. It looks very stagnant and in disarray. One of the games against the Celtics, Joel Embiid was 0-7 in the second half. 0-7. He played much better today. He dropped 40 points. Well, Saturday, he dropped 40 points, which wasn't enough. So what's really going on with their offense? The main thing I want to point out is James Harden holds on to the ball entirely too much at the beginning of their offensive sets, which kills the shot clock and leads to forced contested shots. In a post-game interview, Doc Rivers stated, "We are always up against the clock offensively, which we shouldn't be considering what we have," which is right. The 76ers are loaded with a lot of talent, and I believe James' style of play, with him being their primary ball handler and playmaker, is not going to work. In fact, it hasn't worked on any team that James has played for so far. Tyrese Maxey, he's a great player and a great offensive weapon, but when you have him just standing in the corner waiting for something to happen instead of actively being a part of the offense, it gets guys out of their groove. When Tyrese Maxey was playing last year, that offense looked great. They were pushing the ball. It was great movement, and I think they need to stick to that formula. So what does Doc need to do, in my opinion? He needs to make Tyrese Maxey the primary ball handler and have him run the offense. They need to get set on offense a lot faster and improve the pace of their game and get the ball moving. Second thing, they need to get some help on the bench. Being outscored 10-40 is not going to get it done in the playoffs or regular season with how well the teams are built in the East right now. Last thing is their effort. Too many times I saw Joel Embiid get boxed out by Jakob Poeltl, and that should not be happening, as he's a way better player, way more physical player. The 76ers got out-rebounded by the Spurs, and that really comes down to hustle, right? There was one play in the fourth quarter with under 3 minutes left where Joel Embiid didn't even try. He just let Jakob Poeltl get the offensive rebound and go back up. So last year, we saw when this team, whenever they have some hurdles to get through down the stretch, they put their heads down and they stopped giving a lot of effort. I don't know if you guys remember Game 6 against the Miami Heat, where Doc Rivers was basically begging them to fight for this. He's like, "Come on, guys, fight for this," because they were hanging their head down. And we kind of saw that yesterday as well. So there needs to be somebody that could rally up those guys in late game situations and get them where they need to be, because too many times we've seen this again, right? We've seen it a lot from them over the years, but personally I think they'll be fine. It's only been 3 games, so I don't think it's time to throw in the towel on the Doc Rivers experiment just yet. I know he hasn't lived up to his expectations as a head coach of recent years. Remember all those Clipper teams that were super close but can never pull it out? Starting to look eerily similar with the 76ers and their recent failures over the years. But like I said, I think they'll figure it out. I think they'll make their adjustments. The first 2 losses of the season were against the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Those are really, really good teams, and I don't think people are too much concerned about that. I think people are so much concerned about, why are you losing to the San Antonio Spurs? Because championship teams, they go out and win the games that they're supposed to win. You're expected to lose against contenders. the Celtics and the Bucks, like, they're probably the two favorite teams to come out the East again this year. So again, it's more so just kind of looking at the Spurs, but I think the 76ers will be fine in the long run. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that it's time to give up on the Doc Rivers situation in Philadelphia, like a lot of the fans were saying on Twitter? Or do you think they'll work this out and then they'll be the contender that we think they should be? And as always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe.